Hello students, so I am Dr. Praveen Tripathi, a faculty of Psychiatry, and today with me is my dear student Dr. Aayush Jain. Let me introduce Aayush first. He got a rank of 593 in the recently conducted NEET examination, which is NEET 2020, and he also got a very good rank in AIMS examination, and he has agreed to talk to us and give some tips to his juniors and tell them how to prepare for the examination. So first of all, Dr. Aayush, I'm really thankful to you. You have agreed to talk to
Thank you,
us.
sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
so Ayush, I did tell a bit about you, but can you give a brief introduction of yours? From which college are
Yes,
you,
sir.
and was this your first attempt or second attempt? A few points, please.
Oops, sir. So I am Aayush Jain. I did my MBBS from Mohanbag Medical College, as you said. I appeared this year as this was my drop year actually. I appeared last year also with my internship, but in MAMC or in Delhi colleges, internship is very hectic. So I took a day, 45 days off from the internship and prepared. But my rank was 16,000 previous year. But this year I gave a drop and I got a rank of 493, and my score was 875. In AIMS I got rank of 561, but that's it.
Okay, so last year you got a rank of 16,000, and from there you jumped to rank 493 this year. So
Yes, sir.
that's a wonderful achievement, Dr. Ayush. Many congratulations for that.
Thank you, sir.
So have you picked any branch yet in the counseling?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I picked general surgery branch in MAMC only.
Okay, you have taken surgery from MC itself. Wonderful. All right. All right, so Ayush, so now coming to a bit of preparation part. So when did you start preparing seriously? How much time
So
did you give to your studies? I mean, serious preparation I'm talking about.
I started my serious preparation from June 2019 onwards. Because before that, I didn't study for to be very honest, like I didn't even open the books because
Okay.
I was traumatized by the exam, the result I got. Then mid-year AIMS came and I got a rank of 1388, and in PG 675. So I thought if I haven't opened my books for 4 months and still I got a rank of 1300,
Hmm.
so I can literally manage myself to give a chance again. And because I didn't have any, because I didn't get any PG seats, so I must give a chance.
Okay, so you're
So I
telling me
started from
that
June.
after mid AIMS and mid PGI, you started preparing seriously. So you kind of
Yes,
gave
sir.
only 6 months to your preparation.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay. All right. So talking a bit more specifics of your preparation. So I mean, how did you divide the 6 month period? How much time did you give to your first reading, and how many times were you able to revise the course?
Sir, actually, my plan was to complete my course in up to the last 31st of August. The plan was that, but plan actually never achieved in a rightful manner. So I extended it to 15 September. Then one,
15
two
September.
subjects, short subject was remaining. Some few points were remaining. So I completed at the end of the September. I started my first revision from the October onwards, and I completed my first or 1.5 revision in 1.5 months up to the aims.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have 1.5 months, so I gave around 1.5 reading division to the NEET exam.
Okay, so what I understood was you started from the beginning of June. By the end of September, you were able to finish your first reading. So that makes it like
Yes,
June,
sir.
July, August, September. 4 months for the first reading. And then there were
Yes,
two
sir.
revisions. The first revision before
Yes,
AIMS,
sir.
which is like 15th
Two.
of November. Okay,
Yes, sir.
wonderful. All right. So a bit again, more specifics about your preparation. So what were the sources that you used? I mean, I'm not talking about the institutes and all, but did you go through the notes that you had made previously, or did you study these subjects for the first time? I mean, what did you do?
Sir, sir, actually, I started my preparation in last 45 days that I told about in last year
Okay.
while I was doing the internship. But I
Mhm.
had made my notes few subjects for third year and a final year. I have my own notes.
Okay.
But for first year and the second year's notes, I attended few classes.
Mhm.
I made my own notes. I
Mhm.
made sure I made my own notes. For one or two subjects, I took notes from my friend or from senior.
Mhm.
That's it. I prepared. I used to use my notes only, and I stick to the one notes. Then I go for another notes or to add on the points.
Okay, so what I understood was whenever you would complete a subject or whenever you would study a subject for PG entrance, you would create your notes and then you would use those notes as the base and then you would add things on that. Am I correct?
Yes, that's the point. So
That is.
the main thing is I have to rely on one notes at the before the day of the exam or before the month of the exam. I should have one notes that have you know like
That
equal
is kind of
that have
cumulative
main
of
points.
everything, right?
Yes, the main
Okay.
points for there. Their knowledge should be adequate, not more, not less. Because more knowledge won't be able to recall when you won't be able to recall in the exam. That's the main issue.
Okay, so you're trying to say that we should be precise in what we study. We should not go for too many sources. We should make one set of notes and add on things that whatever we find, we just add on to that set of notes.
Right. The relevant points.
The relevant points should be added. Okay, so nowadays a lot of students rely on the notes given by the institutes. I mean, both online institutes as well as offline institutes are providing notes. Do you think that approach is also okay? I mean, we have a basic set of notes and then we can add something onto that, or do you think that we should make complete note by ourselves?
So what I think is, I believe handwritten notes are best than anything.
Okay.
Secondly, if you have any notes from any institute or any offline or online, make sure it is full notes. That is that one teacher has given you that note. That note should be complete. No more skipping of the notes. So just take one note, read it thoroughly, learn it by heart. Then if you find it is having less note, that less amount, then you take another pile of notes. Then you start adding it. If you feel like to add, don't add too many points, because too many points, as I said, there's no point in reading too many knowledge.
Because we are not able to revise it.
We won't be able to revise it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that is very correct. I mean, this is like the first lesson that we should draw from this interview, that we should be precise in our approach. Because what I have seen over the years is that in the beginning, students become too enthusiastic, over enthusiastic, and they try to read stuff from 5 different sources.
All the teachers.
Yeah, and finally
but the thing is, one thing is, one anatomy teacher is going to teach anatomy. Right. The other student, the anatomy teacher from another student is also going to teach anatomy. Right, the content remains the same. The content remains the same. How the teacher is expressive and how much you attend or how much you understand, that depends.
Got it.
So I believe any teacher, the notes from any teacher are equally good. But the thing is how you grasp it, how many times you have read it. Every line that was written should be learned by your heart, and you must take. You must take the interpretation.
You must be able to remember it, right?
Also.
Correct.
Yeah, the interpretation is also important. The clinical part,
application part. Correct. With the exams becoming more clinical oriented, that is very important. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Aayush, did you used to do the tests and the questions also simultaneously while reading, or would you reserve them for the end of the preparation?
Sir, what I believe is we should read one subject first, then go for the questions from that subject, not the topic by subject. For a few topics, if you feel like you don't know, or you are not getting that topic, or you are feeling very low confident in that topic, then for that topic you must go for the separate questions. But what I believe is you must complete one subject, then go for the questions of that subject, because the questions are coming from a subject from a whole, not from a part of the subject.
So you are saying that finish the subject, then do the questions.
Yes, one complete subject, then do the questions.
Okay, fair enough. And what about T&D? I mean, the timed test where you give yourself like 60 minutes and take questions from the entire subject, which kind of gives you some experience about the exam-like situation. So would you recommend that?
Yes, sir. I would recommend test and discussions are better, because if for me, I made my schedule that can't be followed. I thought it's not going to be followed. So the test and discussion that the institute gave, that I made, that one subject I'll give 1 week or 2 weeks. So I have a plan that I have to give my subject. I have to give test on Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'll complete my subject up to the Tuesday. Then I'll give my test on Wednesday. That will enforce me. That will also motivate me. Secondly, the timed paper is also important, because we might have knowledge we are full of knowledge. We know everything, but the question. The main exam is of 3.5 hours and 300 questions. You might know all the 300 questions, but they have to be done in 3.5 hours only.
Correct.
So time limit is important.
All right. So what I understood from Dr. Aayush here is that apart from reading the subject, it is very important for us to do the questions simultaneously, even if you do at the end of the reading. And we should also simulate the exam like situation, because knowing is not enough. We need to answer those questions in that 210 minutes that are given to us. Am I correct, Dr. Ayush?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
A third question, Ayush, I usually ask this question from every student that I interview. Were you a very bright student during MBBS days, or were you an average student?
So I would say I was average student because maximum my goal was to have 50% marks in profs. That was my goal, and I
Correct.
got 62% marks in every prof. 62,
Wonderful.
63, 61. That's it.
That's good.
So I
Okay.
wasn't a bright student.
Okay.
I just read my notes.
Mm.
I'm not a kind of a book lover.
Mm.
So I used to read quick notes, or but when I read my notebooks, then I used to read the main thing I got is to read the diagrams available, the flowchart that are available, and the content below that images, because that's the point. That's the source where you can guess the future questions, because they
Okay.
are the main crux of the subject. And the few points, the things to remember. In Robbins, there are things to remember, that boxes that are very important because
They're very
they
important.
give the summary to that topic.
All right. So, but coming back to the first point, and I want to stress this thing to a student who's watching this video, that sometimes we feel that if we are average students, or if we were average students during our MBBS days, we would not be able to clear the examination, or we would not be able to get good ranks. That is a myth. Because Dr.
Yes,
Ayush
it's a
is
myth.
calling himself an average student, but he was always a bright student. It's just that during MBBS we don't really care about the number so much. We just want to pass, right? And then when it comes to
Yeah, that's
entrance,
the
then
main issue.
we come to our real form, and that is why we are able to get good results.
Yes,
So
sir,
so
because in
mm, yeah,
because in MBBS we want to clear one exam.
exactly.
For me, it is 50% marks. But in the subject objective paper, in
Mm.
MCQ part, I have to
Get a good rank.
have to beat others also. Na? The
Others
main
also.
thing is, yes, we have to run from
Mm,
others also. Na? You have to
mm,
come the first.
Correct. All right, wonderful. Okay, so coming back to the preparation. So Ayush, again, many students have this question: for how many hours did you study in a day? I know it varies from people to people, but in your case, in your particular case, how many hours were you able to give to the studies?
Sir, I aimed to give 12 hours a day,
Okay.
but never achieved. One day or 2 day I can achieve 12 hours, but that's the maximum. That's the upper limit. I
That's a,
achieved 10 to 12 hours.
so.
I used,
Mhm.
yes,
So usually 10 to 12 hours a day,
yes, sir.
right? Which is I believe pretty doable. I mean, there are some students who are
Yes,
able to stretch it up to 15, 16 hours, but that is a small minority of students. For most of the people, 10 to 12 hours is something that is doable, and that is what most of the
yes, sir.
students achieve, right? Correct. All right. So 10 to 12 hours a day. And what would you do for breaks? Before that, I want to ask you this question. What would be the duration of one sitting? And after that, for how long would you usually take the break for?
Sir, it's very subjective, and it is, depends on the day to day. To
Hmm.
be very honest,
Hmm.
for one day I can sit for 1 hour. For other
Hmm.
day I might sit for the 2 hours. But for the third day I might sit for 15 minutes only.
But what was the
That
usual time
happens
duration?
because that's happened because there is no time limit. There is no the thing is that there is no any compulsion that I have to sit for 2 hours.
Hmm.
Then I'll take a break. What
Hmm.
I believe is, whenever you feel like you are exhausted, just
Hmm.
go have a cup of tea or have a glass of water
Hmm.
and just meditate for 5 minutes. That is the best break to be followed by a period of reading.
So, okay. So you are saying whenever you would feel exhausted, only then you would take a break rather than
Yeah,
following a
not
particular time
no.
period. Okay.
Yes, it's
Okay,
because the
Ayush, so,
maximum limit.
so Ayush,
Maximum
sometimes
is,
students complain
sorry.
that once they take a break, they are not able to come back to the study table for a long period of time. They get distracted. So how do we curb that instinct? I mean, how do we stop ourselves from getting distracted and wasting a lot of time? What would you do?
Uh, so to be very honest, it happens. Because
Hmm.
it happens that if I am coming from my Facebook account
Hmm.
and I was seeing a meme, so that meme will be carry forward. But we have to stop our mind
Hmm.
because thinking that okay, fine, I have watched my video, I have watched my YouTube. Now
Hmm.
I have to study. So you have to forcefully stop your mind because first, if you want to stop that mind, start reading a book. If
Hmm.
you are not able to read a book,
Hmm.
then start the questions. The best part, if you are not getting enough concentration to read another topic,
Hmm.
then you must go for the questions first. Then you realize, oh, these questions are not doable by me. These are very difficult questions. So I realized I must read that topic. So I go to the notes and start reading.
But
That's
what
I do.
what would you usually do during the break periods?
Oh, so I'm a Facebook addict. Like
Okay, you're a
I
Facebook
used
addict.
to,
So you would go to Facebook.
yes, yeah, Facebook, like memes and all, YouTube videos.
Okay.
Uh,
So you
that's
used
it.
to basically use social media, right, during the breaks.
Yes,
All right.
and I used to talk with my parents also.
Hmm.
That was like just to get motivation or just to calm my mind.
Hmm.
They used to
Okay.
mainly.
Okay. Okay. So that brings me to the next question. You talked about motivation. What I have felt is that keeping yourself motivated throughout the year is one of the most difficult things. And those who are
Yes,
able to
sir.
do that are also able to usually clear the examination. So I'm sure it must have happened with you too, that there would be days when you would not feel motivated enough. So how would you motivate yourself? How would you bring yourself back to the studies?
So the biggest motivation is that I don't have any PG seat.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
was my motivation.
Hmm.
Secondly, there are 19 subjects and few subjects I hate.
Hmm.
So why not to give 6 months of my studies or 7 months of studies to
Hmm.
those 19 subjects?
Hmm.
Then afterwards, I won't touch 18 subjects for whole
Hmm.
of my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was the main my agenda.
Hmm.
Not to open the other books. I
Hmm.
have taken my surgery. I won't open my anatomy books. My anatomy not, but
You'll
the
have to
other
open
the
an anatomy book.
anesthesia. Yeah. The thing is, I won't open my biochemistry books or
Yeah,
the subjects I hate.
right, right.
So that was my motivation. And
Hmm.
yes, at times I get demotivated. But
Hmm.
that thing is, we don't have to waste our time. Even
Hmm.
at the demotivated time,
Hmm.
we must start reading the books. If like
Something else,
I don't,
some
I'm
different
depressed.
subject maybe.
Yeah, this different subject. Or if I'm depressed,
Hmm.
likewise, I'm depressed right now.
Hmm.
I'm reading a sentence, I'm not getting it.
Hmm.
I'm reading the diagram, I won't get it.
Hmm.
So now that's the best time to do the question bank,
Hmm.
because question bank will activate your passive mind. You are not able to give your active
Hmm.
brain. So now the
Wonderful.
time is to recall the things that you have studied in past.
Hmm. Got the point.
That's
So
the
basically what you're trying
thinking.
to say that when the going gets tough, we can tweak the strategy. If we are not able to read, we can start doing the MCQs, but we should not waste the time.
Yes,
And this is a very important lesson. I always tell students to do this thing. If you feel stuck, there is no point wasting time. Just start reading some other subject, or maybe start doing MCQs or test and discussions, or maybe time test that will kind of break that slumber, and you would be able to get back into the rhythm. So this is an important
yes, sir.
lesson. Wonderful.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ayush, another question that I want to ask from you is, sometimes students end up making the mistake of not giving enough importance to the short subjects. What do you want to
Yes, sir.
say on that? I mean, how do you put the short subjects in the bigger scheme of things?
Sir, I would like to say short subjects are very much important than the long subjects. I mean, the broader ones. Because if I am going to read the ortho,
Hmm.
the ortho is of 10 questions only,
Hmm.
but the content is of one register only. So if I
Content is
do
of
one
one.
register, one register only, na?
Okay, well, once you read it, you are able to recall it.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the question, ortho questions are going to be 10 questions, but
Uh-huh.
I have to read only one register.
Okay.
So the thing is, if I'll do the one register, I'll able to do the 10 questions. But
Hmm.
in case of medicine, I have to read 6 registers. Then also they're going to be 40 questions, and that too are very much difficult for one to solve them, because
Yeah.
short subjects are the ones that are easily doable.
Hmm.
Secondly, they are easily recallable, and
Hmm.
thirdly, they are very scoring marks. They are with scoring subjects.
High scoring, yeah. So basically, you're trying to say is, I mean, when you say register, you are talking about the quantity of the subject, that the volume of the
Yes, sir.
subject is limited, and in that
Yes, sir.
limited, from that limited subject or limited quantity, you will be getting 10 questions, which are easily recallable and doable. Okay, wonderful.
Yes, sir.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because the shorter subjects are quite limited. Questions usually do not
Yes, sir.
come from outside the that realm. So that's an
Yes,
important
sir.
point. All right. So another lesson that Dr. Ayush is giving us is I mean, give enough importance to the short subjects. Don't overlook them, and they are high scoring subjects, and they really help you in getting a good rank. All right. Going to the next part, Ayush, again, I asked this question from most of the students, that how do we manage the social media during that year period, that 1 year period? Because I mean, you said that you are a Facebook addict and you would use Facebook for mostly entertainment. But many times students, what they do is they are on multiple groups, and they keep on scrolling and wasting time, and they end up wasting hours and hours without getting too much out of it. So how do we manage
Yes.
that?
Sir, actually at starting, I did the same. I followed all the pages that are available.
Mm, mm,
So, but after that, I realized the questions that are available,
mm,
the questions that the questions that students ask as a doubt,
mm,
and the questions that are put by the teachers,
mm,
I feel like, oh, I don't know this question, and
mm.
I feel depressed after that,
Right.
because the content I am getting from that question might be very less. If I gave my question, if I gave my 10 minutes to that question only,
Mm,
I could have utilized that 10 questions in doing that topic from my notes also.
mm,
Because my notes I'll revise my notes, not that question.
mm.
So I used to skip those groups. Afterwards, I realized there's no use of these
So,
groups.
so
If you
mostly
want
you
to
would
solve
use
any
Facebook for, mostly you would use it for entertainment, not so much for
entertainment part,
academic purposes. Okay.
no, not for academic, but because that is not because the questions that are most important will
Mm.
be in my notes only,
In your
and
notes.
I note that.
Mm.
So why to waste time on the Facebook groups and reading the solving the doubts of the other students?
Mm. Correct. Correct. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right. Now coming to the revision part, Ayush. So when you started revising, you said that you stuck to the notes that you had made during the preparation part. So, but
Yes, sir.
did it happen that during revision you gave more importance to the solving of questions rather than just rote reading?
Sir, what I would say is you must revise the question. The revise again. The main thing is I did what I did is revise the notes,
Mm.
and after 1 week or the 2 week, I give one GT. The best part of the
GD.
GT
Okay.
is when you the GT is 3.5 hours
Mm.
and 300 questions. So I'll be able to recall those subjects
Mm.
after first reading. I want to know how much do I know,
Mm.
on which subject should I start first, on
Okay.
which subject I give more revisions,
Mm.
because
Mm.
that's the GT is going to tell me.
It
Not
is.
I there's no instinct that can tell me that I am weak on this subject, I'm weak on
Mm.
anesthesia, I'm weak on I'm anatomy, but the
Mm.
GT will tell. The progressive decline in my score in a particular subject
Mm.
will tell me my weak subject. So I used to revise those subjects or those points which I used to feel low about. I used to make e-notes also.
Mm.
That's the main I think I want to say. If I am not able to recall the any like size of a folies, if I'm not
Mm.
able to recall that size of the folies with the color coding, so
Mm.
I made that I made e-notes in my phone itself.
Mm.
Then I can recall it when I don't want to study. I in free time I'll read that, so it will increase the revision also.
So what I understand is you are saying that we need to take grand tests regularly, because grand test is the only way that we get to know in which particular subject we are not doing so great, and then we focus on
Yes,
that
sir.
subject. And you're also
Yeah,
saying
and
that
that's
you
the
can make some notes on the phone or something. When you're not reading, you can just scroll through them, and that would help you to remember those facts. Okay, so that's
yes,
an
sir.
important thing. That's an important thing to say. Wonderful. All right. Another thing that I want to ask you, Ayush, is that how to ensure that your temperament is right during those 3.5 hours of the examination. I mean, you may read all you want to in the 1 year period, but if you're not focused or if you're not calm during those 3.5 hours, it may impact your result really badly. I think you had an experience of that. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, yes, sir. Actually, what I would say is I read for 45 days, and yes,
Mm.
I gave my best. I read almost 19 subjects. Few
You're
subjects
talking
were
about the
like
first
short.
attempt, right?
Yeah, the first attempt that I gave
Yeah.
during the internship.
Internship.
So
Okay.
that's for the time I gave 19 subjects. I read almost 19 subjects.
Mm.
I gave one and half reading, half revision also.
Mm.
But the thing is, I got very panicky. I
Mm.
had palpitations. Oh, that might I don't know this question. This
Mm.
question is for the ranker. Oh, this
Mm.
question is going to give my rank. This question is so easy. So
Mm.
these thoughts should not be coming to my mind. If they are coming, we
Mm.
should neglect those and
Mm.
consider the question that is shown to us in the screen,
So,
because
so
we
did,
must.
did, did those thoughts come in your mind this time when you were preparing, when you
No,
were
this
appearing for
time
the
they
exam
didn't
this time?
come.
They didn't come.
This
Okay.
time didn't come. I was sure. Actually, I stopped this reading from. It was in fifth of. It was on 5th of January now.
Hmm.
So I stopped my reading in fourth. So I
You
just
stopped
was
studying
like,
1 day prior. Okay. Hmm.
yeah, one
Hmm.
day prior stop studying is the best thing.
Okay.
Secondly, And before going to the examination hall, just keep calm. Don't carry the books, because last moment books or last moment notes won't help anything.
Okay.
And secondly, just read, just listen to the songs, talk to your friends. I actually talk to my friends also, the non-medical ones. The best part is to talk to non-medical ones, because they are the ones who are not going to ask you any question.
Correct.
So
That's a wonderful suggestion, Ayush, that one day prior to the exam, stop studying, try to relax as much as possible. And this is very true. Even I have seen that people who are able to keep themselves calm during those 3.5 hours or 3 hours, they end up scoring like 10-15% marks more. Because
yes, sir.
in anxiety we make stupid mistakes, and those stupid mistakes may make it or break it for you. So it's actually a very
Yes, sir.
important point. Very important point. Wonderful. All right. So next thing that I want to ask you, Ayush, you must have seen that the pattern is changing. The examinations are becoming more and more clinical. So those students who are preparing now, who are preparing this year, any advice that you want to give to those students in this regard?
Sir, I would like to say the pattern is changing, but
Mm,
main thing is the content remains the same. The
mm,
disease is going to same. The treatment part is going to remain the same.
mm,
So, firstly, we must focus on the notes itself.
mm,
Every question is going coming from the notes only.
mm,
Other thing is,
mm,
other points that are I'm going to clinical interpret it,
mm,
I might not interpret it wisely. So I might advise USMLE books have clinical vignettes. So
mm,
start doing clinical vignettes also.
mm,
Don't give focus to the clinical vignettes only, because
mm,
time might change. The next pattern of the NEET again from the previous one,
mm,
straightforward questions may start coming from that.
mm, mm,
But clinical vignettes should be given importance, because in AIMS also they are
mm,
giving the clinical vignettes also.
mm,
And more important is notes only,
mm,
because doing the clinical aspect will be coming. The interpretation is more important from the notes itself,
mm. Right. So you are
and we
telling
should
that
not be worried about
mm,
the changing pattern.
we should not worry about. So you are telling that the content would remain the same. We should be able to know the application part better. And if we do clinical vignettes more, that would kind of give us the practice required to do the application part better. But content remains the same. I mean, if there's a disorder, the disorder would remain the same. They might ask a
Yes, sir.
direct question or a clinical question, but the knowledge remains the same. That's a very
Yes, sir.
valid point. Okay. So finally, Dr. Ayush, any other advice that you want to give to your juniors who are preparing for the exam? Many students kind of get disheartened that they were not able to do it this year. They have doubts, would they be able to do it next year either? So any advice for those students?
So first, I would like to give my advice that in 3.5 hours, the time allotted, that what I followed is the paper is lengthy. But
Hmm.
what I believe is, if I condition myself whole this year, if I have to do 50 questions 30 minutes, that would be the best, because 300 questions. That's how my 300 question will be done in 3.5 3 hours. So
Hmm.
30 minutes will be remaining, and I'll give those 30 minutes to the review questions, or the ones that I use think this is not going to be
That
my
you did
forte.
not attempt in the
So
first go, right? Hmm.
yes, so 30 minutes will be attempt there. Give GTs, because and GT should be given in the condition where it is to simulate the examination hall.
Correct.
Like I used to give in cyber cafe.
Hmm.
For GTs, I go to the cyber cafe, because I'm going to experience like strangers sitting behind me,
Hmm.
sitting around me.
Hmm.
So that's the one thing. Second,
Hmm.
third, the next point is for motivation. Biggest motivation is like I don't have any PG seat.
Hmm.
Third is revision is the key,
Revision
because
is
revision is going to the more time you read a sentence, the
hmm.
more effectively you'll understand that.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
questions you might miss those points in first go,
Hmm.
that you might recall, might you see in the first revision or second revision. That
Hmm.
happened to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's it, I guess.
Wonderful. So now these advices, I mean, if a student can follow, they would be enough to help a student to get through. So I would totally agree with you that revision is the key. Complete the subject in 5-6 months, then go for revisions and more revisions. Recall is what matters in such examination. Wonderful. So
Yeah.
that would be it. Thank you, Dr. Ayush, for giving us your precious time, and
Sure,
best wishes for your future. Thanks a lot, Dr. Ayush.
sure.